Hello. In the previous video, I did the first exercise of the midterm review. We're gonna skip the second one because here it's not asking you to program anything. It's just asking you what this will print, and you can just guess what that will print, or if you know, just write that down and then copy and paste this into the program and see what it actually is compared to what you got. So we're gonna skip the second exercise and go to the third one, where it asks us to write a program that prompts the user for integers until it receives a positive odd integer. At this point, the program will count down from this number until it reaches 0. So we want to prompt the user for numbers, for an integer, I mean. And as long as it's not a positive odd integer, it's going to keep asking the user for an integer. And then once it gives us the positive odd integer, it's going to count down from that integer to 0. So this program is going to take a little longer to code than the last one we did, but that's okay. There's going to be a lot more trial and error here. So we open up our Python shell and we open up our new file, and the first thing we'll do is prompt the user for an integer. So we'll do integer raw input, enter an integer, and so we'll do that. And so we want it to keep asking the user for an integer until it gives us an integer that's positive and an odd number. So we'll do a while loop. So we'll do while user input is greater than 0, which will make it a positive number, or user input divisor of 2 equals 0, then we'll keep prompting you to enter an integer. So let's save this, let's run it, see what we get. So enter an integer. If I enter 0, enter an integer 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then when we enter a positive, that one, it'll keep prompting us and prompting us. It shouldn't be. Let's see. Okay, because it's a positive number, that's why it'll keep asking you. Okay, so we got that part down where it'll just keep asking the user for an integer until it enters something outside of this. But I don't think that's correct, because then this should be less than 0. That way, because it wants to be positive, but if it's a negative number, it should still be able to take it. As we see in the example, it takes a negative 3. So if we enter 2, 4, 6, 8, negative 5, and then if we enter something like this, it should end it. So that's what I meant for that to happen. So as you can see, we'll be doing a lot of trial and error here. So just bear with me. So now we want it to count down when it is positive and it's an odd number. So we'll do if the user input is greater than 0, which makes it positive, and the user input divisor of 2 does not equal 0, which will make it odd, because numbers like 1 and 3 and 5, they'll leave remainders if they're divided by 2. Then we want it to, once that is entered, we want it to count down from that number all the way down to here, to 0. So we'll do a while loop. So we'll do while user underscore input is less than or equal to, hold on, I don't think let's see, we'll do x here. X is less than or equal to user underscore input print x, and then we'll set up here, well, you can set it up anywhere, but we'll set up here x equals 0, and then after this we should have x minus equals 1, so it'll decrease by 1 all the way down to 0, which I failed to mention here, because if I run this, it'll just go on for infinity. So I will enter something like 7, and it'll just go on forever and ever and ever. So I should do a while for 0. While 0 is less than or equal to x, because we want to include 0, print x, and then decrease x by 1, and then go back and print it. So let's see. I enter 2, nope, 4, 6, 8, -5, 7, and then we get 0. Okay. What happened? Oh, that's why. X equals 0. And we didn't. Oh me. So we don't need this actually. We'll have x equals user underscore input, and then that should fix it. So we enter 7. What am I doing now? Oh, okay, I see the problem now. It's when it reads it here, it's not getting the value of x, so it's not going to run for it. So we'll set it here after the if statement and before the while loop, and then this, like I said, bunch of trial and error. So enter 5. There we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we'll do the error checks for the other numbers. So we enter numbers like 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, numbers that are positive but are not odd, or any non-positive number in general. And then we enter numbers like 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you could do the cool thing where you have it, put a comma after it, and it'll print horizontally as opposed to vertically. And that's a lot neater or easier to read left to right as opposed to up down. So that's how you do the third exercise. You prompt the user for an input. You enter a while loop, so whenever the user inputs something less than 0 or an even number, it'll ask him again, or she, whatever. It'll ask him again for an integer, and if that user inputs a number that's positive and that's not an even number, so that's what this is for. This is not, does not equal 0. Then we assign that value to x, and then while 0 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to user input, we'll print x and then decrease that value by 1 each time, and it'll print it all the way down. So that's how you do the third exercise. I have it saved here as exercise 2. It should be exercise 3.